The grand hall of the Valorian palace shimmered with bioluminescent crystals, casting dancing shadows across the assembled dignitaries. Princess Zelana reclined on her elevated throne, her azure skin gleaming in the ethereal light. 4 graceful arms draped across the armrests with practiced elegance. At the center of the hall stood the human. His armor was unlike anything the Valorians had seen before. Crude, they thought. Bulky plates of dull gray metal, scuffed and scarred from countless battles. No elegant energy shields, no flowing adaptive nano-weave. Just thick slabs of processed iron and ceramic composite, held together with rivets and determination. Is this truly the champion Earth sends to petition for alliance? Princess Zelana's melodious voice carried a hint of amusement that rippled through the courtiers. I have seen mining equipment with more sophisticated design. Laughter echoed through the chamber. The human Commander Marcus Webb remained motionless, his helmeted head fixed forward. Perhaps, continued the princess, warming to her audience, the humans are so primitive they believe intimidation through bulk is preferable to actual technology. Tell me, human, does your armor require a team of servants to help you move, or do you simply stand in place until the enemy dies of old age? More laughter. Zelana's primary advisor, an elderly Valorian named Trescan, shifted uncomfortably. He alone had read the classified reports about the human conflicts, about what those crude suits had endured. Your Highness, Marcus's voice emerged from his helmet's speakers, flat and professional. I came to discuss mutual defense protocols against the Kreshitar invasion fleet. If this is an inconvenient time, oh, it speaks. Zelana clapped her upper hands together in mock delight. And so formal. Tell me, does your primitive armor at least have basic environmental controls? Or do you simply sweat inside that metal coffin while pretending to be intimidating? The armor functions adequately for its purpose, Your Highness. Adequately. How charmingly human. We Valorians don't settle for adequate, Commander. Our warriors wear luminous armor. Molecular bonded crystalline plates that are lighter than silk yet harder than your primitive steel. With full holographic camouflage, gravitational dampeners, and personal shield generators that could withstand a starship's cannon. That is armor, human. What you're wearing is scrap metal with delusions of grandeur. The courtiers howled with laughter. Even the guards, typically stoic, allowed themselves smirks. Marcus stood silent for a long moment. Then his hands moved to his helmet seals. What are you doing? Zelana leaned forward, curiosity replacing her mirth. The helmet came off with a hiss of equalizing pressure. Marcus's face was young, perhaps 30 Earth years, with short dark hair and eyes that had seen far too much. Scars traced his jawline, the kind that medical technology could have erased but he'd chosen to keep. He said nothing. Instead, he began removing the armor. Chest plate first, revealing a simple black undersuit. The plate hit the polished floor with a resounding clang that made several courtiers jump. Arm guards next, then leg plates. Each piece fell with finality, the sound echoing in the now silent hall. Zelana watched, her amusement fading. The armor piece by piece revealed its true nature. The chest plate's interior showed burn marks where energy weapons had penetrated and been stopped by the human's own body. The left shoulder guard bore acid scars from Kreshitar bioweapons. The right thigh plate was dented inward, the metal compressed so deeply it should have crushed the leg beneath. But it was the back plate that made Trescan inhale sharply. As Marcus removed it and set it down, the older Valorian could see the interior. Scorched black, melted in places, with a perfect human-shaped void where Marcus's body had been. 16 distinct impact points from plasma weapons, each one a kill shot. Marcus stood in his undersuit, surrounded by the pieces of his armor like a warrior dismantling his own monument. Then he bent down, methodically collecting each piece, stacking them in his arms. Commander Webb, Zelana's voice had lost its playful edge. What are you doing? Marcus looked up at her, his dark eyes meeting her crystalline gaze. You're right, Your Highness. This armor is crude, primitive, inadequate. He hoisted the stack of armor plates, their combined weight making his muscles strain. It can't camouflage. It can't generate shields. It can't do half of what your luminous armor can do. He turned toward the exit. This armor can only do one thing: keep a human alive long enough to complete their mission. On Kreshitar Prime, I wore this armor for 72 hours straight, while holding a position against 4,000 enemy soldiers. On the dying belt, I wore it in hard vacuum for 16 hours after my ship was destroyed, then walked it back to friendly lines carrying 2 wounded squad mates. Marcus paused at the doorway, looking back over his shoulder. This armor has been hit by plasma, laser, kinetic weapons, acid, fire, and once, on Tegris 4, by a small tactical nuclear device. Every time it kept me alive. Not through elegance, not through sophistication, through raw, stubborn human engineering, through layers of simple metal and ceramic that refuse to fail because failure means death. He hefted the armor higher. You call it scrap metal. I call it the reason I'm still breathing. The reason 300 colonists on Harvest Station are still breathing. The reason humanity hasn't been wiped out by the Kreshtar. Selena rose from her throne, descending the steps with fluid grace. Commander, The Kreshtar fleet will reach Valorian space in 6 standard months. Marcus interrupted, his voice even but hard. Your Lumina's armor is beautiful, sophisticated, perfect. Mine is ugly, heavy, and primitive. But when the Kreshtar come, Your Highness, you'll learn what I learned 3 years ago on the ash fields of New Beijing. What's that, Commander? That sophistication doesn't mean shit when you're standing in hell. What matters is what refuses to break when everything else has failed. What matters is what keeps fighting when fighting should be impossible. He adjusted his grip on the armor, metal scraping against metal. Humanity didn't ask for this war. We didn't ask to be thrown into a galactic conflict with enemies that had starships when we were still banging rocks together. But we're still here, not because we have the best technology, but because we have the most stubborn. Marcus began walking toward the exit again. Commander Webb, wait. Azalana's voice rang out. Please. He stopped but didn't turn. The princess descended the remaining steps, approaching the human slowly. Up close, she could see the scars on his hands, the way his shoulders carried invisible weight. She glanced down at the back plate in his arms, at those 16 kill shots that hadn't been kills. I mocked something I didn't understand, she said quietly. I apologize, Commander, truly. Marcus finally turned, meeting her eyes. Your Highness, I didn't come here for an apology. I came because humanity learned the hard way that we can't fight the Kreshtar alone. But neither can you. Your Lumina's armor is incredible. If you survive the first 3 seconds of combat, my armor. He looked down at the scarred metal. My armor makes sure you get those first 3 seconds. Zelana was quiet for a moment. Then she raised her upper right hand in the Valorian gesture of respect. Perhaps, Commander Webb, we have much to learn from each other. Your people's armor and our people's technology combined might just be enough to survive, Marcus finished. A ghost of a smile touched his scarred face. That's all humans have ever asked for, Your Highness. A chance to survive. We'll handle the rest ourselves. Then let us discuss these mutual defense protocols, Selana said, gesturing back toward the throne. And Commander, you may keep your armor on. I suspect I'll sleep better knowing you're wearing it. Marcus nodded, setting down his armor pieces. As he began reassembling the crude, battered plates onto his body, every Valorian in the chamber watched in silence. What had seemed primitive minutes ago now looked different. It looked like humanity, stubborn, scarred, and absolutely refusing to die.